Okay, so the new global update notice just dropped, and interesting stuff. I mean, some stuff we already saw in the what was it, the pre-patch notes they make, the what's it called? Um, Maintenance notice, right? And then there's the update notice. In the maintenance notice, they already mentioned they're finally releasing Extreme for Guild Boss, and they're also bumping the rewards for what JP currently has. Speaking of, this will be the first time update I will actually start maining global. I did mention this in my video of the Super Awakenings. I've been very displeased with Super Awakening, and because of that, I will pick up Global again and see if I main more Global than I'm maining JP currently, and it's only because of that. Global has been doing great with patches, and just looking in the first like few lines, new events already having another spin event. That's really good. That's like they're dropping spin events. Like currently on global, I just opened my global account right now. I was playing right before recording because I didn't actually notice the patch notes, and I was playing, and they just had the bingo, right, and the the whole shop thingy with the costumes. They're already adding another spin event. They're doing these so often, much often than GP is doing, and I think Global currently is actually doing much more effort than GP is, and that's the whole reasoning behind it. To be honest, I actually said this multiple times. As long as like the Global team in the beginning was not doing so well, but now they are, and I think that's my way of saying that Global is actually good now. Anyways, they're dropping two heroes at the same time, both Melasculas actually, which is funny because I actually talked to one of the data miners. He had data mined the coin shop Melascula like 2 weeks ago or something like that, and I was like, that's weird. It would be very weird for it to release right now, but they are releasing both Melasculas right now. By the way, they aren't the greatest. I'm not gonna lie. Like okay, so let me go back and let me just boop boop. Um, they are probably going to be both in one banner, given that they have already released like two commitments in one banner with Estarossa and with Derriere on GP. So it's not too far fetched to think that both Melasculas will be in the same banner. For a reference, by the way, Blue Melascula released with Red Fat King on JP, and the commitment Melascula, the 10 commitments. I think the 10 commitments is the 10 commandments is the blue one. I thought it was the red one. It's Elite of the Demon Clan, or Elite Demon, I guess, in the global version. The coin shop Melascula is actually kind of recent on GP, and they're the blue one's pretty mediocre, honestly. Passive increases basic stats of the hero by 1% for each ultimate gauge orb allies and enemies have. In paper, you think, oh, if everyone has max ultimate gauge, it's gonna have like insane stats, but like beginning of the battle, people have like almost none, and so, like it's just not very. It's a very bad passive, and like on paper it sounds good, but it's not. Her first card infects, which is actually okay. I do prefer the other way, which is Arthur's way, which is the seal healing cards, because then with infect, if they use a cleanse, then the infect goes away, right? But with Arthur's thing, disables recovery skill, they can't use the cleanse, so it's much better. It's a very similar, not the same, of course, because in fact it nullifies what's it called, lifesteal stuff. But anyways, and the other card detonates, which is okay. I've seen this actually do so much damage because detonate does actual 20% damage per ultimate gauge. If all three enemies are like 4 or 5 ultimate gauge, then level 3 does like pretty good damage. But it's very situational, and in general, not very good. And then her ultimate pretty much fully heals her, 40% lifesteal. She pretty much fully heals. Now, another kicker from her is the commandment applies 2 ignite effects for 5 turns on allies or enemies who did not use any skill in the end of every turn in PvP. So if an enemy on the enemy team, like an enemy on the enemy team, that's a correct term, I guess, doesn't use a card for like 3-4 turns, they get like full on ignites, right? I mean, it can be the same for you, but still. And the other Melascula, this Melascula is actually very interesting. Her passive, look how long her passive is. When another ally that is not Melascula dies, grant a removable buff that makes the ally stay at 1 HP for 3 turns. No matter what. Like, like if they die, right? They just get resurrected. And no matter how many hits they can take ultimates, it doesn't matter. They will not die unless they either remove the buff, or this effect only activates once the buff is removed when Melascula dies. Either if you kill Melascula or if you remove the buff, then yeah, you can kill them. But for 3 turns, if you don't do either of these things, the character is immortal. If more than 2 allies die at the same time, the left most ally will get the revival. It's a very interesting passive, and it can work. Like, some teams actually make pretty good use of it. But going against teams that have like ultimate rush and like do AoE damage, let's say Blue DML just came out. Sorry, Blue DML didn't just come out. He came out like over a month ago at this point. But Lilia just came out to support Blue DML, and with the Lilia plus Blue DML team, they're gonna be doing AoE damage, and guess who's red and is gonna take the most damage from DML? It's Melascula. So there's always that. But the first card applies increases damage dealt by 25% per ignite, which is very bad. You could have just made those either weak point or the one which is like for each debuff the enemy has, it does extra 20. Like, that's the same thing pretty much, and it can be any debuff, right? I guess it makes sense with her commandment, like for the ignites, but still. And then this card is actually very interesting. Intakes 8% of all enemies' HP. She pretty much decreases the enemy's max HP by a certain amount. It removes this unit's HP, or the enemy's, it recovers the unit's HP by the amount increased for 1 turn. It says for 1 turn, but it's actually forever. Like, she just fully, like, if she does like a level 1 and there's 3 enemies, she just fully heals. Like, she just fully heals. Like, this unit on paper is so good, but on practice on PvP she never was. But to be honest, she's a real fun unit. And then her ult is the same thing, lifesteal, so she pretty much fully heals at ult. They're releasing 2 characters at the same time. I'm seeing 2 Melasculas at the same time, which is not very strange given that JP released 2 Asteroses at the same time and 2 Derrieres at the same time. But these 2 characters, if I'm very honest, I think what I would personally recommend for people playing global, and it's what I will actually do because I should summon on banners just for content, but what I would recommend as someone that has the units already on JP, the next few characters that are gonna come out that are good are like Derriere. She's a must-have. Asteros is really good, but he will be a coin shop unit, and so will be Escanor, so you could skip them if you want, but if you want to someone for their banners, they might just release like this, right? Asterosa might just have a banner like Melascula, which both Asterosas come out. To be fair, red Asterosa sucks, but the green one's really good. So I don't know if Melascula is a good choice for using gems on, so I'll definitely recommend skipping. I will not be summoning myself. I'll actually probably go back on Lilia's banner. I do have Lilia, but I probably should go back on her banner. Anyways, so new events I already talked about, Burning Hatred pickup draw, so might be both in one banner, might not be, might just be the blue one and the red one just goes to the coin shop, but I'll bet both are in the banner. For upcoming event, global drop for the spin tickets. Knighthood now has Extreme. Honestly, Extreme doesn't give that much more difficulty. It just has 2 health bars and that's it. That's the big thing. On JP, I know I mentioned JP a lot. It's because it's the version I've been playing the most, right? But the way to get the max score, Extreme, is so much better than hard and normal. Like, if you don't play on a super try-hardy guild, just going for 2.2k points is fine. Like, and that's super easy, right? Just beat them, and honestly, you just got it. But if you are in a very try-hardy guild, and you want to have the maximum amount of points, it's such a drag. Because you have to use the Derriere method, and he removes buffs, and you need buffs, and it's just so annoying. And regardless, Extreme. And the rewards increase. I believe so right now you only get like 50 envos per week on Guild Boss, but it will increase to 100. So that's really good. An extra 50 envos a week, that's really good. Personal rewards up to 7. Yeah, this is what I meant. More Heroes of Engravings, Melascula, Grimoire, and Alioni. Oh, Kabuki's not gonna have to UR gear Grimoire, huh? Okay. Able to visit friends' taverns. This wasn't a thing on Global? What? Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know this wasn't a thing on Global. I thought it released with the game. You can go to a friend's tavern. You just click on them and just go, and you can eat one of their top 5 dishes. that the dishes that they have on Hawk, right? You can eat their dish, and that counts as food. Like if you just want one ultimate food for some reason, you can go to a friend's Hawk, a friend's tavern, go on a table and just eat, and you get the food. That's it. It's actually not bad. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good thing. I bet I would never use, but it's pretty good. Drop additions, DMs added to the race draw. New title Hero of Leonis. I don't actually know what this does. And I mean, I know what titles do, right? I don't know what this specific title does. New bundle special upgrade. Oh, upgrade bundles are never good. never in either version. And they're ending the 100-day celebration pretty much. Had a good run. 100-day celebration was a really good celebration. I actually did get all the costumes last minute, so that's pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't recommend something from MELASCULAS, but I do want to see the spin and stuff and how they would do it. And also the 100 envelopes is actually a pretty good drop. I mean, it's just a regular weekly patch, nothing out of the ordinary. One thing though, and don't hold me on this, right? But JP usually ends all of their events on a Thursday, but the current event that they're doing right now, the hell for the activities, the story missions, ends on a Tuesday, which is Global's patch day, not GP's patch day. So maybe next week, if possible, please, maybe we'll have the AOT collab in both versions at the same time. That might be why they're ending the event on Tuesday to match up with Global's weekly schedule. But do not hold any expectation on that, okay? Just an idea I had because I saw it. I wouldn't really think too much into it, but it's interesting that they actually are ending the event 2 days earlier for no reason, right? And we already know the AOT collab is happening because we saw the leaks. So, just keep that in mind. So if you want to skip this banner and summon on the AOT collab banner, like I mentioned MELASCULAS, right? I'm sorry, I mentioned Dariari, right? But collabians are very important as well. If you want to save gems for the collabians, they are going to come out in, I don't know when, but eventually. That's also a good idea for skipping this banner and saving gems. Alright, that's pretty much about it. That's, yeah.